Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Inside Track, Equipace's weekly handicapping podcast, sponsored by FanDuel Racing, where we give our analysis, picks, and wagers for a couple of the weekend's top races. Download that FanDuel app and bet now. FanDuel Racing. So as always, I'm your host, Ben Kudla, and today's all things Commonwealth Stakes on Saturday at Churchill Downs. Drew a fantastic field. I think it's probably the best betting race of the weekend. Over half the field is stakes winners already. You got two Godolphin homebreds in there, multiple graded stakes winners, King's Plate winner Mancetti coming down from Canada, and even 2025 Kentucky Derby contender Flying Mohawk to take a bid back on the turf. But anyway, here we are, just a week away from Thanksgiving as we wind down 2025. It's crazy how fast this year has really gone. I feel like just yesterday was even opening day at Keeneland, but here we are at the end of November. So like last weekend, there were some graded stakes action at Churchill, Aqueduct, and Woodbine, and some fantastic performances that we got to see. I do think probably the greatest performance of the weekend came from Aqueduct in that Grade 3 Jockey Club Oaks that featured a rematch of Fian and Laurelin, who both ran in the Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II stakes prior to the Jockey Club Oaks, and they did not disappoint on Saturday at all, giving us a thrilling stretch run, finishing first and second respectively. Fian did prove best on Saturday, flying on the outside, gaining with every stride to win her fourth graded stakes race of the year. She's now ranked second among 3-year-old fillies by earnings in 2025, by the way, behind She's So Spicy. In the final 16th of a mile in that Jockey Club Oaks, Fian actually lengthened her stride to an average stride length of 25 feet. Just ultra impressive, and she earned a 103 Equibase speed figure for that. I do just want to watch this replay just again. I was watching this live on Saturday from my house. I was just blown away just watching her run. So we're going to go ahead and watch this race.
In front, Scythian is off the rail. Lauren Lynn's going to get the first job to pounce.
Far outside, number 4 is Fian. Number 7 is Laurelin.
Laurelin now extends that stride. Fian to the outside of her.
Look at that stride.
Fian catching her with every stride, and look at her accelerate. Fian is now put a neck in front, and Fian will win the Jockey Club Oaks over Laurelin. Then came Don't Jinx It at a massive number, unmerited
just
favors
wow.
in the photo with Scythian in 2 minutes 17.
All right, you know, that's a filly right there. But anyway, down here in Kentucky, the Grade 3 Chilookie Stakes was quite the race. My one magic filly I picked on last week's show, she ran a very game second. I hope you all played that trifecta I gave out. It was 50 cents. I paid like $9.50, I believe. Not too bad for all those odds. But Shred the Gnar went gate to wire in the Chilookie, winning by 2 3/4 lengths. First off that 197-day layoff. Trainer Brian Lynch, who had a very impressive week as well, winning at a 36% clip. But Shred the Gnar has now won her last 3 starts by a combined winning margin of 15 1/4 lengths. Plenty of great racing action, you know, in 2025 here still to go. You know, races like the Chilookie, you'll love them, right? But anyway, up in Canada, fan favorite No Balls went back-to-back in the Grade 2 Kennedy Road Stakes at Woodbine for trainer Larry Ravelli. Really nice timed ride by Rafael Hernandez, I thought. No Balls now a 6-year-old gelding. He's originally purchased for $3,500. Now he's won 13 races, including the 2022 Breeders' Cup Sprint. He has $1.9 million in career earnings. I just love stories like that. And the Desi Arnaz Stakes at Del Mar on Sunday capped off the week across North America. And what a race it was to end the week, with Rivera and Hamika battling down the stretch, nose to nose, with Rivera on the outside proving best for trainer John Sadler. With Antonio Fresu aboard, this 2-year-old filly now has 2 wins and 2 seconds from 4 career starts. Now to get in some promotions, all my Race Lens people out there, that's what I do, that's what I love. Look out for those Black Friday deals coming soon on the 26th. Follow us on social media, or you'll see all the ads on equibase.com about all of our Race Lens products available for a very good deal. And if you do already have a Race Lens subscription, have no fear. It's still the best time to buy, because if you get it now, it just adds on to your subscription and you still get that deal. So be sure to be on the lookout for that on Black Friday. And the race, the NHC Equibase and NTRA's free weekly feeder contest that gives out 2 NHC seats continues next Saturday, November 29th. horseplayers.com. We've had a couple weeks off here. But anyway, you must have an active Raceland subscription to play in this free contest. And the top 2 finishers in each Saturday contest will earn a seat to the Raceland's Final 50 contest in February. Top 2 finishers in the Raceland's Final 50 will earn a seat to NHC 2026, plus travel voucher and a 4-night stay at Horseshoe Casino in Las Vegas. So I hope to see you there. If you're playing, you can learn more and sign up. Equibase.com/NHC. So let's just dive right in. This is a great race. I really liked it. 20th running of the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf Stakes at Churchill Downs, the 10th race on Saturday with a 5:25 p.m. Eastern post time. Mile and 16th on the turf for 3-year-olds. Last year's winner was Laganos. He went 1 mile and 16th on the turf in 1:40.83 seconds, which set the stakes record for trainer Steve Asmussen, who has won this race 2 years in a row now. So really nice field of 11. Let's just go through these contenders from the rail out. You got number 1 California Burrito, drew the rail post for trainer Thomas Drury Jr. with Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard for the first time. 20-1 morning line. He'll be making his first start ever on the turf. This Army Mule colt won the John Battaglia Memorial Stakes earlier this year at Turfway over the all-weather. This will be his first start since the Grade 2 Pat Day Mile on Kentucky Derby Day, so he's had a little bit of a layoff, but your morning line 7-2 favorite, number 2 Troubleshooting, and there's off back-to-back greatest stakes wins, both victories with Tyler Gaffleone aboard, who retains the mount. Troubleshooting will making his second start at the route distance in here after winning the Grade 3 Bryan Station Stakes last time out, going a mile on the turf. Number 3 Montador, the 5-1 morning line. Godolphin homebred Nyquist colt is fresh off a 2-length victory in an allowance race over the Churchill turf on November 2nd for trainer Mike Stidham. Already has 2 wins from 3 starts this meet. Gets Luis Saez aboard for the first time. Kind of interesting, Montador and the other Godolphin horse in here at Chapman's Peak share the same broodmare sire, which is in fact Medaglia d'Oro. Moving on, number 4 Anagata with a morning line of 12-1 for trainer Mike Maker. He's coming off half-length win in the Hawthorne Derby up there in Chicago last time out. He's 100% in the money from 2 starts at Churchill. You got the longest shot in the morning line. It's number 5 Outrunner, 30-1 morning line for trainer Jorge Duarte Jr. He'll be trying to find the winner's circle for the first time since his career debut at Laurel in October of 2024. But despite not winning for over a year now, this American Pharaoh colt is 4 for 5 in the money lifetime and 3 for 4 in the money at this mile and 16th distance on the turf. Next, you got 2025 Kings Plate winner number 6 Mancetti with a nice morning line of 6-1. Ships down from Canada for his very first try over the turf, with regular rider Petro Moran also making the trip to Kentucky, a good sign. Actually, this will be Kevin Attard's just 3rd career start at Churchill Downs. He's not even made a start in the last 5 years at Churchill. Kind of interesting. Next, you got number 7 Gio Cosa with a morning line of 4-1. Finished 3rd last time out to Troubleshooting in the Grade 3 Bryan Station Stakes at Keeneland. Very slow start for Giocoso, broke last out of the gate, so, I'll give him a little bit of an excuse, and he does get the jockey switch to Jose Ortiz for the first time. He does have a win over this Churchill turf a little over a year ago at this mile of 16th distance, and also won the Grade 2 Secretariat Stakes at Colonial Downs 3 starts back in August. Trainer Keith DeSormo. Now you got the 2nd Godolphin homebred, number 8 Chapman's Peak, with a morning line of 9-2. He won his last 2 starts over the turf, earned a career best 95 Equibase speed figure last time out at Keeneland. Churchill Downs fall meet leaders Irad Ortiz Jr. and Brad Cox teaming up with this one. Next, you got 2025 Kentucky Derby contender in the 9 post with a morning line of 8-1. That's Flying Mohawk, making his first start since the first Saturday in May for trainer D. Whitworth Beckman. As Caraconte colt started his career on the turf, broke his maiden over the Churchill sod by 5 1/4 lengths last October and returns to the grass for the first time since January. Very interesting one to watch. I'm excited to see how he does. Number 10, Simulate, the morning line of 12-1. Claiborne Farm, homebred by Kitten's Joy. 2 for 3 at this mile and 16th distance on the turf, will be making his 4th consecutive greatest stakes start for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. And last but not least, number 11, Plensa, also with the morning line at 12-1, drew the far outside for the red-hot Rusty Arnold stable, and is 100% in the exacta from 2 starts at Churchill Downs, and also won the listed Gunrunner Stakes at Kentucky Downs 2 starts back, earning career best 102 Equibase speed figure. So there's your field for the 20th running of the Commonwealth Turf. Very tough race, I thought. As far as pace goes, I think California Burrito might be sent to the front. Troubleshooting will for sure be close. Montador will probably settle off the pace mid-upper pack, but he could go too. Vanzetti probably going to go. Chapman's Peak might be up there, but with that outside post, I see him laying more mid-upper pack, kind of like Montador. And then Flying Up Mohawk, big question mark for their strategy. And I think Giocoso, Simulate, and Plensa will probably be at the back. But, really tough race. I handicapped this race really hard and, kind of going back and forth on a lot of horses. But I did land on number 8, Chapman's Peak, with a morning line of 9-2, So to these 2 Godolphin homebreds, Montador and Chapman's Peak, honestly, I think they both look really tough in here. I did give Chapman's Peak the slight edge based on his continual pattern of improvement, and then along with Brad Cox and Irad Ortiz Jr.'s connections. But anyway, in all races over the last 3 years, Cox and Ortiz Jr., they're winning at a solid 24%. But in turf routes over the last 3 years, they're winning at 41% for 17 starts, 65% in the money, with a positive 12% return on investment. Chapman's Peak began his career in August of 2024, finishing a distant 7th on career debut at Kentucky Downs. Came back a couple months later, finished 4th by just 2 1/4 lengths at Keeneland, stretching out to 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. After that effort last October, he takes a 9-month layoff. Resurfaces as a 3-year-old, and I think just a completely different horse as well. Came back in July as a first-time gelding at Ellis Park. Did run 3rd. That was on a sloppy track and a maiden special weight that was taken off the turf. Came back after that to run at Kentucky Downs and broke his maiden by a length, going 1 5/16 miles on that European-style turf course. Blast Furnace finished 2nd in that race and came back to win his next start at Keeneland as well to kind of flatter that effort. He does then go to Keeneland last time out, wins an allowance race, going 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf, earning a career best 95 Equibase speed figure. And both of those wins were with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard as well. Very good sign. He's back aboard. The last time out, just incredibly impressive run, going gate to wire in a very long turf route. Drew clear at the end to win by 2 1/4 lengths. Post 8 could be a little bit tough if you're only looking at his last performance on the front end, but Chapman's Peak also has the ability to come off the pace as he did in Kentucky Downs in September. Just really nice speed progression as well throughout his career. 65 to an 80 to an 87, repeats the 87, and then last time out, a 95 Equibase speed figure. Another thing to note, Brad Cox wins at 32% graded stakes races with Godolphin-owned horses over the past 5 years as well. I thought 9-2, pretty solid value. I think he could steal this race if it is kept on the turf. Fingers crossed, we're getting a lot of rain here in Kentucky. But if it is a good turf course, he has won on the wet turf before as well, like he did last time out. So now, interesting. I do think Godolphin might run 1-2 here. So I did pick number 3, Montador, in 2nd with the morning line of 5-1, the other Godolphin. These two have very eerily similar running lines. I just think Montador has a really good opportunity in here to excel. Like Chapman's Peak, he had a lengthy layoff in those running lines. This horse also debuted in August of 2024 in a dirt sprint before taking an 11-month layoff. He also returned in July this year at Colonial Downs. He did cross the wire first in a 5.5 furlong turf sprint, but was disqualified to 7th. After that, he comes to Kentucky Downs in August for his first try at a turf route, going 1 mile, and breaks his maiden by 3 1/4 lengths with a massive improvement from a 77 Equibase speed figure up to a 101. And at Keeneland in October, narrowly misses at the allowance level, going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. Really nice late rally. I just didn't think he moved at the right time in the stretch, so he just didn't get up there. He finished runner-up, but he did earn a 105 equibase speed figure for that effort. So he went from a 77 to a 101 and then a 105. So pretty impressive running lines. And then last time out at Churchill, November 2nd, he wins the same level allowance by 2 lengths, going a mile and an eighth on the turf, but he did regress a little bit to a 90 equibase speed figure. Trainer Mike Stidham, he does have limited starts at Churchill Downs in the last 2 years, but he does have 4 wins from 15 starts. That's 27%. And that being said, Stidham, he's just been dominant in turf stakes races over the past year, winning at 38% from 16 starts. And they won with Think Big, his lone stakes turf starter at Churchill in that time frame in the Grade 2 Twin Spires Turf Sprint back in May. So I think these horses really could run 1-2. I just think they're both due for a ton of improvement. Very similar horses. You know, it's kind of almost hard to pick one over the other. Like I said, just the continual progression of Chapman's Peak is why I gave him a slight edge, as well as those connections. But no knocks on Montador. Very, very talented Nyquist colt as well. And, you know, I'm going to put Troubleshooting in there. Just a vulnerable favorite, I think. Even with 2 straight graded stakes wins in the Grade 1 Franklin Simpson and the Grade 3 Bryan Station last time out, you know, I think he's vulnerable. But anyways, a not this time colt running as a Donnemeyer Farm homebred. Spent his entire career nearly at the sprint distance on dirt and turf, with the latter being his preferred surface. Troubleshooting did win his turf debut in his 4th career start in April at Keeneland, going 5.5 furlongs. He does come to Churchill in May and June, running at the allowance level, and finished 2nd and 4th respectively, with both races again going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. The 4th of July, he scored his 2nd career win and 1st at the stakes level in the Dade Park Dash Stakes. Ellis Park by 2.25 lengths, earning a 104 equibase speed figure, and followed that up with a runner-up finish, getting caught at the wire to lose by a nose in allowance race again at Ellis Park, going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. A slight pattern there, as you can see. But after that, he wins that Grade 1 Franklin Simpson, going 6.5 furlongs on the turf, earning a massive career best and best in this field, 109 equibase speed figure. And then last time out is the Bryan Station at Keeneland, his first ever route race. He hangs on to win by a neck, going a mile on the turf. Very, very talented horse. I'm just questioning his ability to stretch out again another half furlong after narrowly hanging on in that Bryan Station. And Greg Foley, good trainer, you know, he had 3 wins in September at Churchill, but as of today, he's 0 for 13 in this fall meet. So that barn kind of cooled off as well. But a big positive is Tyler Gaffalione is opting to stay aboard Troubleshooting. He was aboard Montador last time out at Churchill, but he's going to go ahead and stay on Troubleshooting. Troubleshooting, he is ranked 1st in here in average speed with a 92 and 2nd in average class with a 96. You know, with those 2 graded stakes wins, it's tough to leave him out of exotics for sure. But this added distance, I think it's going to prove pretty challenging for this colt, but we shall see. Another one I did want to mention is Flying Mohawk. You know, just what an interesting horse coming back. He did start his career on the turf. It's just his preferred distance. He broke his maiden and maiden special weight at Churchill by 5.5 lengths, and then followed that up with a two-length win and allowance optional claimer on the turf at Fairgrounds, and he hasn't been on the turf since. He's coming back from that colic surgery. He was a Grade 1 Belmont Derby not vet scratch, but an illness scratch back on the 4th of July. We're finally seeing him here. I think he's a talented horse, and I'm glad they're bringing him back on turf. I'm just a little bit wary, you know, such a long layoff and colic surgery as well. But I'm just really interested to see what their game plan, if they're going to try to go to the front. Last 2 starts, you know, Derby maybe doesn't count so much, but, you know, they're way, way back. I'm glad Joe Ramos gets the mount. He retains that. I believe that was his first Derby mount ever. But anyway, regardless, it's just going to be an epic race, and just fingers crossed it doesn't rain too much, and if it does, at least maybe a yielding or a good turf at Churchill. But we shall see. So there's your field for the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf Stakes. I'm going with Chapman's Peak over Montador over Troubleshooting. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck in all your wagers this weekend, and we'll see you next week.